All right, welcome back, friends. This is Julie with Craft with Julie, and we are finishing up our last card using the distressed oxides. And this one I saved for last because we're doing all kinds of fun things. There's quite a few different techniques on this one, so we're kind of building on what we've already done, and to create this look for this card. So you'll want chipped sapphire and tattered rose. You'll want your dot paper and then also your watercolor cardstock. And the reason why we're using watercolor cardstock is because it just absorbs the water better. If you just use plain cardstock, then once you add water, it kind of deteriorates the cardstock. So that's why we're using the watercolor for the projects that we're adding water to. The projects we don't add water to, we can use plain cardstock and it's totally fine. So let's go ahead and get started on this one. So you want that piece of distressed water paper. Oh, and then we're going to use this stencil right here. It's like the, I think X or a cross, or I'm not even, well, let's see, what did I call it? I guess an X stencil. Okay, so we're going to add the distressed oxide sapphire, chip sapphire first. And we're going to kind of go out. You want to start on the edge and then just kind of move in so you don't get those round round spots on your paper or on your project. As you can kind of see right there, it's starting to get that round, so we can just smooth it out by going over it and applying more ink. And you just do it lightly first, and then you come back in a little bit harder. And I didn't bring, I should have grabbed a Post-it note while we were on our little break, but I forgot. So I'm just going to use this extra piece to hold down my paper so I don't get fingerprints on here, since we're going to be attaching that to our card base anyway. You can go back in and add darker if you want. Okay. So once we have our chipped sapphire down, we're going to take the stencil and we're going to add some of those images on right on top. So this one I'm just going to dab just to get that color through, so you can layer the oxides on top of each other with a stencil. This is kind of light, but it turns out kind of cool. Okay, oops. I think I need a little bit more, so I'm going to carefully line up my stencil. Maybe dab a little harder to get that lighter color to pop through. Okay, can you see that? That has those little X's. Okay. So now we are going to add a little bit of water. We can clean that off with our, oh, I forgot to, oh, that one's getting a little dry. Clean our stencil off. Okay. So we're just going to take our water bottle and let me move that out of the way. That's why we're doing it on this mat. and you can just spritz it as much or little as you want. And you can see the Distress Oxide start to kind of work. I did it kind of far away, so I had lighter splotches. You can do it closer up and get bigger splotches. You can move the water around. But then I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm just going to lay it right on top to pull up that water, and then you'll see what you're left with. You see that where it pulls up that color, and so you have all those fun splotches. You still have those little X's with the Distress Oxide, but then you have the little water splashes everywhere. Isn't that cool? Okay, and then you can actually use your Distress Oxides to stamp. So I'm going to pull in this like a firework looking stamp, and I'm going to ink it with the Distress Oxides, and I'm going to stamp it right on to the project. Isn't that cool? Maybe one more right there. And then you have the same color on there. I'm going to wipe that off. And I'll clean that off with my chamois. I have all the fun things. Okay, I think I got it all. I'll just grab my stamp chamois and just wipe that off. You can also use your Distress Oxides just to distress the edges. Really, there's so many uses with these guys. It's just fun. It's just fun to play with them and try out new things. So now you have your cute background with all the different elements. We laid down our chipped sapphire. We added some X's with our tattered rose. We added some of the splatters with our spray bottle. And then we stamped using the chipped sapphire. So all kinds of fun things on there. So now we can finish up our card. And we're just going to add this piece of Mix-in paper packet. I'm losing my words. I'm going to add this piece right in the middle. And then we have our cute little gnome. And we did cut out little stars with our thin cuts. And we need a stamp Celebrate. And Celebrate comes from the Chillin with My Gnomies. I'm going to stamp that with intense black ink. Just right in the corner. You could totally leave it without Celebrate, but it's up to you. Just quickly clean this off. Because if I don't, black ink will be everywhere. Grab some 3D foam. Oops, I'm out of that one. Good thing I brought backups. I'm going to add him kind of to the lower left side. And then I'm going to add some 3D foam to the stars. And add them to the card as well. Isn't that fun? All the different layers. And it didn't really take very long to create this card, but it looks so cool with all the different elements on it. Okay. And there we go. There is card number 1. If you have any questions on this card, please let me know. If you want to recreate this card, you can actually find all the supplies on my website, which is juliescott.closetomyheart.com. And I will send you the instructions when you place an order on my website. And I think we're down to our last project of the day. We're just cruising through them today. And it is our 6x6 layout. And we're going to do a little bit more with the water. So grab your stencils and your water and your supplies for our 6x6 layout. And I'll be back in just a little bit.